Well, it's been a minute since I've done a Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes video. Welcome back. We're going to start off the new year with a list video of what I would like to see character-wise, maybe a couple ship-wise, get released, and, well, this upcoming year, obviously. So, yeah, there's going to be a lot of Imperials. Imperial Troopers, I should say, not Imperials as a whole, but like Imperial Troopers, maybe some Imperials that could maybe slot into some random teams outside the Imperial Remnant, Imperial Troopers, because that's where a lot of my, not really issues, but my desires lie, like seeing some more Imperial Troopers, because with like Enoch taking up a new slot in the Imperial Remnant team, and the Imperial Remnant team not really being very, like, I know Enoch's team's basically him, Night Trooper, and Death Trooper Peridea, but like, we'll get all to that in a little bit. So, yeah. Anyways, okay, so the first person we'll talk about is the Purge Trooper. We fight them in the territory battle, right? So why don't we have any variant of the Purge Trooper at least? Like, it doesn't, it'll probably be tagged Inquisitorius like it is in the territory battle, but it doesn't mean it has to be limited to that. It could work in tandem with the Inquisitorius team, with the Imperial Troopers, maybe under Veer's lead would probably be best. I don't know how they would get around to doing that. But, like, obviously it'd probably be... Is it tagged as an attacker? I believe it's... I hold on. I can't even look it up. Well, my phone's being silly. But, you know, I would imagine it'd be tagged as, like, an attacker or support, depending on if they just do one version of it, as opposed to multiple. Because if they do multiple, then that means more kits and more time and effort into developing the kits, obviously. So, Purge Trooper would be nice to see. Mudtrooper is one I've, like, actively been asking for a while, just because why not? We saw it in the Solo movie, and I know they've been used, I think, in like comics maybe elsewhere, but I mean that doesn't really matter. But like, it's just a nifty design, like, you know, whole like swamp, like, you know, setup kit wise to be in swamps and all. I mean, like, we have the Magma Trooper for dealing with lava, like plants that are like, you know, have lots of active volcanoes and lava, and then you got Snow Troopers for the cold environments. Why not Mud Troopers for, like, you know, places that are constantly just getting rained on, not like, you know, pure water plants, but like, you know, some that have land that still has fighting on it, like Minbin, like that's where the Mudtrooper was mainly based from the Imperial Army. But like, I mean, like, we saw it for like the little glimpse in Solo, and like, I'm just like, why not, you know? And like I was like kind of rambling on a little bit before we talked about the Purge Trooper. Like, the Imperial Troopers as a whole, like, you've got, now that we have basically like 4 leaders, and I say 4 because I'm counting Enoch in that. So we've got Veers, that'll take, you know, Stark and Piet and Dark Trooper and Range Trooper maybe. And you've got Iden that'll take, and then this is where it starts getting a bit, it's problematic, because you got Iden that'll want to take Death, Snow, Magma, and maybe Storm or Range or whatever, you know. And then we got Dark Trooper Moff Gideon that wants to take Moff Gideon, Death Trooper, Scout Trooper. Scout Trooper also likes going with Iden teams because of the, you know, stagger and all that she can put up. And, you know, Stormtrooper as well. Well, would you look at that? We're having overlap already with Iden's team. And then you have Captain Enoch's team with Captain Enoch himself, Death Trooper Peridea, the Night Trooper, Death Trooper as well, and then the TIE Fighter pilot, which was made an Imperial Trooper and Imperial Remnant. But, like, you see, you're beginning to see the issues here that I'm trying to build up to, because, like, you know, we kind of need to start having more characters to fill out these teams. And yes, I know not everything has to be built around 5v5 teams, but like, if you have Mud Trooper get added in, that can maybe slot in place of a Range Trooper, probably not in a Veers team. Maybe you can use him with an Iden team. Or Purge Trooper, like I said, could be used in a variety of places with the Inquisitors, with Veers, maybe with Iden, but it wouldn't be like Imperial Remnant, like, oriented kind of thing. So, but like, speaking of Imperial Remnant, like, oriented, let's talk about the Incinerator Trooper. We've had him been showcased once in The Mandalorian on Navarro, where, you know, he started to try to torch out Din Djarin and all the rest of the crew, you know, Grief Karga, Cara Dune, and IG-11 and Grogu. But like, if setting aside Mud Trooper and Purge Trooper thoughts for a second, let's look at the Incinerator Trooper. If you put in the Incinerator Trooper and say you want to take Death Trooper to the Enoch team for 5v5 or something, then who's your 5th going to be? Because Dark Trooper really won't, I mean, Dark Trooper kind of fits into a Darth Trooper Moff Gideon team, but he's more better suited for the Veers Piet team to get that team just ramping like crazy. So who's your fifth going to be? Because you can run 4, but it wouldn't really be the most ideal thing. And Incinerator Trooper could just be slotted into that spot and be the 5th that's needed for the team at that time, you know? I'm trying to find holes in these teams. And yes, this video will be very heavy on dark side teams because we just had a very heavy light side year in the year of 2025, okay? There will be some light side characters here, don't get me wrong, and ships maybe. But I don't want more light side. After having to put up with the Gungans, the Queen Amidala team, the advent of the Luthen characters, and then Ezra Bridger Exile, all of the Spectres and all that. I don't mind light side characters, but God, last year was very dragging on me for gearing up characters. But anyways, we're gonna stick with the Imperial Remnant theme for a second here before we go to this one right here. So we have the Imperial Super Commandos, right? Why not the Imperial Armored Commandos, which is more... This is more like a Moff Gideon subset of the Mandalorians from, well, Mandalore, obviously. These are the ones that, you know, followed him even after the Night of 1,000 Tears and all that fun stuff. I almost said 1,000 Knives. That's actual historical stuff. But, like, yeah, Night of 1,000, like, Tears... Was it Tears? Yeah, Night of 1,000 Tears is whenever they... whenever Moff Gideon bombed Mandalore into submission. But yeah, like, I mean, and here's the thing, the Imperial Armored Commandos could support even, okay, so say we don't get Incinerator Trooper, right? If we got the Imperial Armored Commandos, they can go into the 5th spot for the Darth Trooper Moff Gideon team in place of maybe Death Trooper or Stormtrooper, you know? I don't know if they'd be a tank or a support, maybe an attacker. It depends on, again, how they do kits and all. But I'm not the guy that makes kits. I'm not the one that thinks up kits, okay? I'm just the one that, like, blabbers on about stuff, okay? I'm not the one making the decisions here. But, like, that's kind of where I'm aiming at, you know? Because if we can get some way to fill in the gaps, then maybe you can... Because also the issue is with, like... The issue is with the Captain Enoch subset of the Imperial Remnant team. Like, you want them to take damage, start getting all of the... I'm forgetting the debuff now. It's not, Decay. That's the debuff. Decay and, it's not Purge. What does Night Trooper give out? Oh, what is it called? Blight. You get Decay while you're getting hit, and Blight you're spreading. So, that's the thing you gotta think about, because, like, with the potential of, like, a... you know, Grand Admiral Thrawn coming to be the next GL maybe this year. Don't know for sure, but that's what the speculation is probably going to be. Who are you going to fill out for his team outside of Enoch and Death Trooper Purdy and the Night Trooper? Like, are they going to just be those 4 and then, like, a random 5th? Or what are they going to make new characters to, like they did for GL Ahsoka? I don't know. Let's wrap up the Imperial Trooper ideas here. Let's talk about Crosshair. Now, I know we're more than likely going to get a Crosshair from, like, Season 3 of the Bad Batch. I want a Crosshair from the first season and, like, half the second season, technically. I want the Imperial, you know, Crosshair before he realized the atrocities he was, like, committing for the Empire kind of thing. Because if he could lead, like, his own squad that he had while serving as the Imperials, I don't think that happened because that had to be a whole 5 new characters type thing, or maybe just a couple and then you take some away from, like, Veers or Iden kind of thing. But, like, if we can get Crosshair, we have him, we fight him on, I was gonna say Lothal, I'm like, that's not it. Baraka. Since we fight him on Baraka, use that as the basis for the kit, extrapolate on it, and then just make him a collectible character. And he's not gonna be obviously light side, but I mean the mercenary version of him that we'll get with the season, whenever that happens this year for the mercenary stuff, will be probably light side oriented. So why not just give us the bad version of Crosshair, I guess, what I'm aiming at. I really just want to see some holes plugged in the Imperial Trooper lineups, okay? I know they're not the best faction because they're heavily reliant on datacrons and characters being added and, you know, giving them a little breath of fresh air before they die back down and research kind of thing. But, like, I would just like to see something get added in terms of Imperial Trooper and Imperial Remnants throughout this year for 2025. The Stranger, Qimir. I don't know if he'd be pure Sith or unaligned Force user. because he calls himself a Sith. And I think the Wikipedia said that he's technically the then apprentice of Darth Plagueis. And obviously we saw Darth Plagueis like watching from the shadows of the cave system that Qimir was living in at the like some part in episode 8 of the show, like the final episode of the series. So we know Plagueis obviously has his eyes on Qimir. I don't know how much that is for him training him or just keeping an eye on a potential apprentice, because that's what the Sith did during the rule of two era because of Bane. But like Qimir as a whole, just very brutal fighting style. He would obviously be an attacker, and the fact that he has like a little shoto that like can pop out at the end of his lightsaber and he could use as like a secondary, as literally as a shoto kind of thing, is really cool. Also the fact that he has cortosis weaved armor on his helmet and on like the greaves of his arms. I say greaves on his arms, the greaves that he wears on his arms is what I mean, but it's a very unique fighting style. Also, he had a very brutal kill on Jeki. Also, the fact that he was able to take on an entire Jedi attack team by himself is impressive to say the least. He is a former Jedi because he was Vernestra, how do I pronounce her last name? Vernestra Rwoh, sorry. Vernestra Rwoh's apprentice. So that's how he knows her and all that. So that's how she was able to tell that he was the one causing these issues throughout this, not really she was able to tell, but like she knew who it was because she felt his presence through the Force type thing. But like, yeah, obviously Stranger Qimir would be one I want. Vernestra Rwoh, she's been in the High Republic stuff and books, maybe even in, I'm gonna give you the honesty, I haven't really read the High Republic stuff in a long time, so I don't know what book or graphic novel she's introduced in, but she has been present through the High Republic stuff as of late, and her being a Jedi Master in the events of the Acolyte shows that she was able to rise through the ranks of the Jedi, make it onto the Jedi Council and all that, and she has obviously the first televised usage of the light whip, even though Lumaya, sorry, was the one that I think spearheaded that back in the 90s, or whenever she was introduced into the expanded universe. But anyways, Vernestra Rwoh and Sol, both of them being Jedi Masters on the Council, would be interesting to have added to the game. I don't know what roles they would fill on the Jedi. I would imagine Vernestra would be an attacker, probably. Or she may be in a support. I know Sol would probably be an attacker, but Sol's character, you know, him being conflicted about separating May and Osha from their family, literally leading to the devastation of that covert of, you know, Force users because of his own actions. You know, he feels guilty about it and all that fun stuff, but like, why not? I mean, maybe not just because of the way the Acolyte was handled. Not really handled, but received by people, I should say. They probably won't do it, but it would be nice to see something come out of that show into Galaxy of Heroes. Do I think it'll happen? Probably not, but if anyone, it'd be the Stranger. You know, Qimir would be the one I want the most out of all of them. Yeah, Darth Zannah would be cool to get added, just because I want book Darth Bane get added, let's be honest here. And if Zannah gets added, her Princess Darth Cognus being added would be cool. You know, her being the Huntress, the one that was hunting Bane down because of Princess Sarah putting out the hit on him. Because of, you know, her remembering what Bane did to her father. And, yeah, why not? I mean, more Sith are always nice. And I know I mentioned Plagueis in just offhand while I was talking about Qimir, but if we can get Plagueis added, that would be nifty, because we know from the Acolyte he was keeping an eye on Qimir while Qimir was doing whatever Qimir was doing, you know, trying to train May, and then training Osha as his apprentice after, well, May lost her memories because she was trying to protect Osha from the Jedi Council and all that fun jazz. But like, yeah, Darth Plagueis being the future master of Darth Sidious, eventually helping further engineer the destruction of the Jedi Order, fun, all that, and him being able to manipulate and inadvertently create Anakin Skywalker because of his manipulation of midichlorians and the Force, then being like, you know what, just because of you, we're gonna make Anakin Skywalker, you know, yeah. So Darth Plagueis being the one I want to see, but out of the entire list, the ones I think are most likely to happen this year, would probably be like Qimir, maybe. I know maybe Crosshair, but like out of the entire list, I highly doubt most of them will get added. It's just, this is a list of personal wishes, you know. Do I believe that they'll get added? Probably not, but like, would it be cool? Yeah. Now to wrap it up, we're gonna talk about ships, and the ones I think that are, well, the one I think most likely, the Fondor Haulcraft. I feel like this one's the most likely to get added just because we have Luthen, and the way they've been handling ships as of late. We had how many ships get added last year? We can literally look at that right now and look at the units. So we had last year 2 ships, the Comeuppance and Punishing One. That's it. We didn't have a capital ship get added. We didn't have, you know, new fleet stuff get added. We had 2 new fleet changes. Well, 3 technically, but 2 were actual ships. New ships, I should say, being added, and the other one was the Leviathan being fucked with because of the changes that the Punishing One brought. But yeah, like the ship I feel like the most likely is going to happen is Fondor Haulcraft. I don't know if it'd be a Marquis or if it'd be a Conquest, because the owner of the ship was a Conquest character, right? So there's that idea. And then the other one, the Outland TIE Fighter. I don't know where it would fit into any fleet at the moment. It's just one I want to see, because of like, if we get, you know, these Imperial Armored Commandos, the Incinerator Trooper, or anything like Imperial Remnant added, that'd probably be, you know, cool to add. Hey, look, give this to Moff Gideon, or maybe someone else in the Imperial Remnant. I don't know who necessarily, but Moff Gideon was when I piloted the one that we saw come in to Navarro whenever he was cornering Din Djarin and all that. But I know a lot of people are speculating like the Mandalorian fleet being the next one, which honestly at this point I really want to mind. I know I've like been like, oh, Mandalorian is kind of annoying at times, but like that's just fighting them. But like getting them added to the game would be a cool thing. But yeah, sorry about this video being a little all over the place. I was trying to remember what buffs and debuffs I was thinking of for like especially Imperial Remnant, and then, you know, the Acolyte stuff and the Sith stuff was kind of a mess just because of my dog's going crazy and all that fun jazz. But yeah, anyways, let me know who you think out of this list would be added, who you want to see get added to this game in the comments below. And yeah, thank you guys for watching, and I'll catch you guys later. I hope you have a good rest of your day.